Quick question. When was the last time that WarGames felt special? When is the last time it felt like the match actually needed to happen and it wasn't just thrown together because it's that time of the year, it's Survivor Series, we have to have a WarGames match? This issue is highlighted again by them announcing that in Houston, on this year's Survivor Series, it's going to be WarGames again. This is like the 5th or 4th straight year of having WarGames at Survivor Series, and it just doesn't need to happen. The matches don't feel special anymore. It's exactly what they did to Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell was awesome when you had Kane and Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, everything like that. It was incredible, and then they made it a yearly tradition where every October, whatever month it was, you would have matches that would just happen to be a Hell in a Cell match. There was no real build to making it Hell in a Cell. It just was thrown together because that was the upcoming pay-per-view, and it really ruined it and took away the aura of the match. The biggest contribution of this was Seth Rollins, Bray Wyatt, Hell in a Cell 2019, where it just ruined it because it ended in a disqualification. This overall incredible match type that's supposed to be keeps everyone out, no disqualifications, is just you two guys going to hell, and it ended in a disqualification because they used a sledgehammer. It just ruined it, become just a joke in and of itself, where you do the match so many times, there's only so many really options you can have with the match, and it just became stupid, it became redundant. And same things happening to WarGames here, where it's not really a lot of storylines that need to have a WarGames match. It's just getting thrown together at the last minute because that's what the tagline is. It's Survivor Series, WarGames, we're going to have a WarGames match. No, we don't have any factions. No, we don't have any groups that really have, a heated rivalry together. It's just going to be a couple of groups of 5 people that are thrown together at the last minute, and here's your WarGames match. And what makes it even worse is that WWE had the absolutely perfect solution to this, and they did it 1 year and then never did it again. And that year was 2019 when they did the champion versus champion SmackDown versus Raw versus NXT. One night only, all the champions taking on each other, and we almost got the Adam Cole, Bray Wyatt, and Brock Lesnar match. However, that did not end up working out. But we did have matches such as Shayna Baszler versus Becky Lynch versus Bayley. That's your NXT Women's Champion, Raw Women's Champion, and SmackDown Women's Champion together in the main event there. You had a 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match, and that gave us incredible moments such as Roman Reigns and Keith Lee. It's just awesome. This is what it should have been. We had Roderick Strong, AJ Styles, and Shinsuke Nakamura. We had NXT North American Champion, United States Champion, Intercontinental Champion, and it's just the perfect way of getting everyone on the main roster. It looked at like last year's Saturday Night's main event where you had John Cena retire, but you had NXT champions and NXT members on that main card. You had Sol Ruka, you had Obafemi, and you had great ways to introduce them to the main roster. What better way of introducing your underground NXT talent to the main roster, but then having your champions take on the current champions? That's why Oba and Cody worked so well. You could have your NXT champions come to the main roster. They don't have to win, but if they do, you're saying, wow, I need to look out for this guy. It's like when Kevin Owens debuted as NXT champion and he beat John Cena. You're like, wow, this guy is going to be a really big deal. He doesn't have to come up for a little bit. He can still be in NXT. But the fact that he came up here and beat one of our champions, he's going to be a force to deal with. So I really love the idea of doing a 3 or 5-on-5, having the 3 brands go against each other, but they just went away from it. Probably because they didn't have to compete with AEW on Wednesday nights anymore, but this was just a perfect solution. Then after that 1 year, they got rid of it and they went back to a champion versus champion match, just SmackDown versus Raw. And I like this idea still. This is what it should be. It should be champions versus champions, but this has now become the Crown Jewel Championship, which is just Saudi Arabia blood money. But what I don't like about this is I feel like WWE was so scared to have their champions lose, and they feel like I might be damaged by it. So this is in 2021. You had Roman Reigns as the Universal Champion defeating Big E as the WWE Champion. And a lot of times you'd have a lot of, especially with any Roman Reigns match, a lot of interferences, a lot of distractions. You had on the pre-show, the US Champion lost to the Intercontinental Champion by disqualification on a pre-show match because Shinsuke had to beat Damian Priest. Damian Priest couldn't. It's just stupid. I don't know why you have to do any sort of qualifications. If your champion loses, they're still a champion. They just lost to a better person. So if, the Usos lose to RK Bro, the Usos are still the best tag team on SmackDown. They just got bested by the best tag team on Raw. There's no shame in losing to the best person at your sport. It means you're just number 2 for right now. And that's still better than being anywhere else on the bottom of that. So I wish we could get back to the idea of a Universal Champion versus WWE Champion. Right now we have a WrestleMania rematch of CM Punk and Roman Reigns. We would have, I guess, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley if she's ever coming back. You have so many options we could do. You have the Vision versus whoever the SmackDown Tag Team Champions are. I just found this idea so much fun, and yes, a WarGames match is still fun, it's still like a 5-on-5, but it's not an elimination match, and it just becomes redundant. So what I want to do is look back at all the WarGames matches we've had at Survivor Series and talk about, was it really special, was it really worth it, and was the match ended up being cool? Because this is the first one in 2022 with the bloodline of Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Solo, and Sami Zayn taking on the brawling brutes of Sheamus, Rich Holland, Butch, Drew McIntyre, and Kevin Owens. On paper, you're thinking, why? Why are the bloodline taking on the brawling brutes with Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens? What's the connection there? The connection is that there is no connection. The only reason Kevin Owens joined is because he hates the bloodline. I guess Drew hates the bloodline too. But why are the brawling brutes really here? Is that really the kind of build we want to have for the first WarGames match back on the main roster after so long? And yes, it was a great moment. Had a great moment where Sami, ended up hitting the hula kick on Kevin Owens, and it led toward that WrestleMania 39 main event. And yes, the storylines worked there, but it just didn't need to happen. Like, we could have had a much better way of getting here, and this could have been a 5-on-5 elimination chamber match, and nothing would have changed. It didn't need WarGames. It just felt cool to have. But because it was brought back after so long, I'm okay with this one because it was the first one, just kind of dipping our feet in the water. It's whatever. And we're not even going to touch on the women's WarGames matches. All that is now is to put Io Sky on the top with a trash can and she's going to jump off. That's all it is. It's happened every year. She's been in every single WarGames match. That's just all it is. It's just a spot fest. It's just something to look cool. Here's a social media click. That's all the women's WarGames matches come to. There's no storylines going into it. They may try to tell you there is one, but there really isn't. It's just thrown together because they need something to go for the women's WarGames match and they need someone to catch Io Sky. In 2023, we had Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and a returning Randy Orton, defeating the Judgment Day of Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonough, and Drew McIntyre. This also had the CM Punk return at the very end of the show. Now, it's Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins and all of them were taking on the Judgment Day for months and months and months. And yes, a match like this should be kind of a payoff, but it took so long to get here. Randy Orton just returned at this event. Did he have any real beef with the Judgment Day? Not really, but Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn, they were facing Judgment Day since like April, since like May. The fact that it's November now, we're finally getting this match. Like, this one just felt wrong because it dragged on for so long, and the whole like, will they, won't they? Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, I'm your friend, but I'm not your friend. It just didn't work as well. We had WrestleMania 40, we had the cool moment there. We didn't need to come back to this, and again, it just felt weird because it took so long to get here. So this one, I believe, was much worse than the first one in terms of storyline and why we're actually here. But of course, CM Punk return kind of saved it. In 2024, we have the bloodline of Roman Reigns, Usos, Sami Zayn, and then CM Punk taking on the other bloodline of Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Bronson Reed. This one was the one that deserves a WarGames match. The original bloodline versus the new bloodline, and you have to have a fifth member in there. So you have CM Punk and you have Bronson Reed. I really enjoyed having Sami Zayn come back to help Roman Reigns in the bloodline. CM Punk's involvement because Paul Heyman would then owe him a favor, which ended up being that he would walk him out and be in his corner at the WrestleMania main event. I liked that idea, and it helped further build until the WrestleMania 42 pay-per-view main event, where CM Punk and Roman Reigns did challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship in that main event, which is awesome. So I like all that involvement. The new bloodline of Solo and Jacob, Tama, and Tonga, yes, that was great. Bronson Reed, I don't love that involvement, but it's just someone that's dangerous, someone you needed to have in there. And it did end up joining the Vision later on to become an adversary to Roman Reigns. And so I guess long-term storyline, it did kind of help there. But the CM Punk, Bronson Reed, no real connection right there. But if there ever was a time to have a WarGames match, it was Bloodline versus Bloodline. This is what it's been building to. This is really cool. This one I'm cool with. 2 thumbs up. And then last year's WarGames match had the Vision of Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, and Brock Lesnar taking on CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, the Usos, and Roman Reigns. This one, again, another Zeros moment of CM Punk and Roman Reigns building to the WrestleMania main event. But it felt weird having the masked man of, is it Seth Rollins? It's not Seth Rollins. Is it Austin Theory? That one felt really weird. It ended up being Austin Theory. And then I honestly forgot Brock Lesnar was even in this match. Didn't do too much for me. You're throwing people together. It didn't need to happen. That's the big thing I'm saying this. This does not need to be a WarGames match. This could have been a Raw main event. It could have been a Saturday Night's main event. It did not need to have a WarGames stipulation to it. And the only reason it did is because it was November and they needed a WarGames match. So the fact that they took out WarGames and it just made it back to Survivor Series, that's great. If this was a 5-on-5 elimination match, sure, perfect. The reason they don't do that is because you now have 5 people getting pinned instead of only 1 person getting pinned. 5 at a minimum if the whole team just lost and they got swept. And they don't want to have that. You don't want to, quote unquote, bury 5+ people in one match. You get pinned, whatever. They shouldn't have to worry about that. And now we're heading to WarGames in Houston in 4 months, and there's no storylines whatsoever I could even think of that would warrant a WarGames match. You tell me back in April at WrestleMania, if they're gonna do a WWE versus TKO WarGames match, that would be perfect. You have, Randy Orton, you got Pat McAfee, you got The Rock. They're kind of people going against people that are against TKO, like your LA Knights, like your Cody Rhodes, like your CM Punks. That would have been perfect. That's what this match should have been, but instead, we're not going to hear anything about this until past, Halloween, and then try to throw together 5 people on each side and say, oh yeah, this has to be a WarGames match because we announced it as Survivor Series WarGames. They're absolutely ruining the stipulation. I no longer feel excited for WarGames because it's just thrown together at the last minute, and they know they don't actually really care about the stipulation at all. At least with Hell in a Cell, they got rid of it, and they did the right thing by getting rid of it, and they bring it back intermittently because now we're getting Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam inside Hell in a Cell, and it feels special because Hell in a Cell hasn't been around in a while, and so it actually feels like it fits the storyline, and that's what it's all about. WarGames does not fit the storylines of like 4 of the 5 WarGames matches we've had. It just thrown together, and so I'm glad they did with Hell in a Cell. I do hope they do it again with WarGames, where at 2027 it's just Survivor Series. If you want to do brand versus brand, Raw versus SmackDown, that's fine. If you want to do Raw versus SmackDown with NXT, even better. If you want to get rid of Survivor Series and you want to call it bragging rights like they used to do, that'd be even cool as well. But I don't think WarGames is as successful as it could be because it's kind of just being oversaturated at the moment. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of this? Am I just wrong? Am I overthinking this? Or has WarGames really just been ruined by being overdone year after year? Make sure before you go, leave a like on the video and consider subscribing to the channel if you enjoy wrestling content like this.